Erica,
Hi, Doug.
welcome to the Thunder Road Show. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're on a dinner function thing, so we won't keep you
You
long.
almost said date. Let's not get it twisted.
I
It's
know.
a business.
I did correct myself though and said
I
function.
know. Thank you.
So, is this a business meeting that we're interrupting?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll make it short.
And you're not interrupting.
Well,
So,
thank you so much. Thank you for the time. You were so busy last weekend. We wanted to get to you, but I know Richard Freeman had you doing all kinds of promotional stuff after your big win in Charlotte.
yeah, he kind of dictates the time. But anyway, I would have loved to be on the show, and I thank you for having me this week.
No problem. I guess it's a big, little bit of a monkey off your back getting your first win of 2018,
Yes.
getting to the finals in
Yeah,
Houston, and then getting a win the following week. That I mean, that's big news.
it
Congratulations.
is. Thank you. I'm very excited. Our last win came in Epping of 2017, so that was like late summer, and then prior to that, it was Vegas of 2015. So they are very few and far between, which sucks, but we're about to get on that. So, but I think the biggest, like, most cool part about it is after we left Vegas on Monday, we had two new race cars in our shop. Not brand new, but new to us. We bought them off of some people. And in 9 days, we transformed them to Elite Motorsports quality and went to Houston. Jag qualified number two, and our car went to the final round with one race under our belt and like zero testing. So I think it speaks volumes of like what my crew chiefs are capable of, and just having a brand new race car on property and being able to tune them to, a great qualifying position for Jag. My car, the red elite car, kind of sucked during qualifying. We ended up 13th, but went to the finals on Sunday and definitely would have won. But we hurt a motor in the finals, but we were able to go to Charlotte at the four wide the following week and get it done.
Absolutely, congratulations. Now it's a little weird, and Brian Lowens and I talked about this.
Yes.
Rick Jones is your chassis tuner. You were using his car. You made a change. Brian alluded to the fact that the tire change in Pro Stock, and maybe it's a sweet spot situation. And Rick Jones is still, he tuned you to a win and a final round in Houston. So there's no like weirdness there, but it is a little strange, isn't
It's definitely a little strange, and it's definitely interesting to talk about. But we're a lot of things, but we lack a lot of things. But one of those things is not it's not loyalty. And in in Vegas, first round, our elite car and the Jegs.com car shook first round, and we came back to the trailer. And Rick and Ricky, the father son duo, Rick is my crew chief, Ricky is Jegs crew chief, were like almost in tears and said, we need to make a change. We'll fix our race cars. They obviously don't work with the new tire that an NHRA has made us run. So until we can fix it, we need to make a change and put our drivers in the winner's circle. So I think that speaks volumes of their character. And Richard's initial answer was no. We're loyal people, and we're gonna run your cars. You can't have Rick and Ricky Jones as your crew chiefs and run a Jerry Haas race car. And he said, we got to do what we got to do to win. So that was kind of after that meeting is when Richard made the phone calls. I bought my car off of a guy in Texas. It's Roger Brogdon's old car, actually.
it? Yeah.
And then the car that Jag Coughlin's driving is Larry Morgan's car. And we just bought that off of him last weekend. So they're both owned by Richard now. They're our cars, and we'll tune them accordingly. And I don't know, man. It was a tough transition because I've driven everything that there is out there. I've driven a Haas car, a Beavis car, a Bickle car, a Ness car, a Wally Stroop car, a Rick Jones car. And I'm not just saying it because I'm biased to my crew chiefs, but they build the Bentley of pro stock cars. They're just amazing fabricators, and they pay attention to detail. Not that the other guys don't, but just the product that they produce is second to none. So as soon as we can get back in an RJ car, we will. But this is what works for right now, and we're hopeful to keep driving into the winner's circle.
Absolutely, and you won two championships with an RJ car, so you can't really
Yeah, they
dog
don't
them.
suck, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just this new tire. It's really flimsy. It's got a crappy sidewall that's weak, and it just we're the only cars that struggled with it, and it's really unfortunate because the car that the RJ guys and the Quartermax guys produce are amazing, but it just wasn't working with the tire. So they're actually back at the shop now, building us 2 new race cars that are going to work with the tire. But until then, this is what we run.
Sounds like somebody mixing drinks in the
I
background.
know, right? You're making me
That's
thirsty.
exactly what she's doing. She's shaking some dirty martini.
Oh, nice. Well, we're drinking Shiner Bock, so we'll drink with
Are
you.
you? Oh, Texas proud.
Yes, ma'am. So, not quite the finish you wanted at Atlanta.
No.
But I have to say, your Fox TV time was brilliant.
Well, thanks.
You did a really good
Appreciate
coming from a broadcaster. I mean, you did a really good job. Your interviews were spot on. Your answers were, and it kind of was cool to see you on there after they did the Women of NHRA deal that I thought was really cool. We tried to play the video before we got you on, but we'll play it after we get you off here because NHRA Jessica sent it to me. That was a really cool video in lieu of all the stuff going on this weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm not sure the reason behind it, but they're doing this big deal on females in NHRA drag racing right now. We were all on the cover of National Dragster a couple weeks ago, and then it was cool me running up in Houston and winning Charlotte, and then Courtney, Force, and Leah won in Atlanta last weekend. So I kind of wish our success in Charlotte came in Atlanta, and that would have been the first time in the history of our sport that 3 women have ever won the same event. But we've all done it 2 at a time, but 3 at a time would have been really cool. So, and I think that's on the horizon. But NHRA has done a great job of promoting the successful strong women in the sport, and I'm proud to be a part of it. But thank you for the compliment on the Fox deal, because I felt like I fumbled through it, but it's definitely awkward being up there and being behind the scenes and having to announce and then be on TV, and it's a different view. And they were complimentary as well, and I said, well, good. Hopefully when I'm fired from my job here, or when I retire from drag racing, maybe I'll have a future in broadcasting.
Everybody watching this would rather see you in there than Pedregon. I'm just saying.
I'll second that.
Thanks. Well, and Bruno Massel was up there, right? And he is so underrated. Like, he does, I think, in my opinion, he does an amazing job. And he's driven a Pro Stock car. And I was like, why don't you guys talk to Bruno about what it's like behind the wheel? That's such an interesting perspective, and no other broadcaster has that experience. Tony had the experience with a funny car, and there have been some others, Mike Dunn, that had driven a Nitro dragster, but nobody's ever driven a Pro Stock car. So talk to Bruno about it. I think that's such a cool perspective, and maybe it's because whatever, you smoke your own, right? I love Pro Stock, and I'm really passionate about it. And I think Bruno has an interesting perspective on it. But anyway,
he does it. He drives like a comp car all the time.
He drives
He
comp.
does.
He's driven Super Stock. He's driven Pro Stock. He's driven a little bit of everything. And I think he drove a Sport Compact Art too.
And been successful at every level. He's an amazing driver, and he's a huge talent on TV. So I hope that he sticks around for sure.
I think he will, unless he gets hired up by someone bigger than that or does big time TV stuff. You never know. So you going to be racing the Pro Mod at all the rest of the Pro Mod races?
That is our plan. Yeah, the only reason we didn't compete at length or whatever the last Pro Mod race was, Charlotte. We hurt everything that we had in Houston, and we could have got it fixed, right? I pushed a head gasket after the first qualifier at the Houston race, and it hurt the block and the head, so we had to pull that motor out, and we kind of put our B team piece in, which wasn't quite as up to par as the first one. And on top of that, hurt a transmission. Well, then the 5 Pro Stock cars that we had there that weekend, we hurt 4 Pro Stock engines, and we're back to back to back, right? 3 in a row. So our priority is obviously the Pro Stock program. So we went home and we fixed all of the motors that we broke in Pro Stock and ordered parts for the turbo car. And we just had to skip Charlotte. So, but our plan is to be at the rest of them, God willing, and the creek don't rise. But we'll see what happens. It's a lot of fun to drive that car, and I really enjoy the double duty because, I don't like to sit around. Like, I like to be busy. And if NHRA let you drive more than 2 cars, you can bet your ass I would be driving a lot more.
I can imagine. I can see you doing a one of the Samtec factory stock cars and a Pro Mod and a Pro Stock. That's what I see.
Those would be my top 3 choices: Pro Stock, Pro Mod, and the factory shootout car.
So how does the Pro Mod compare to the Pro Stock car? I mean, obviously the Pro Mod pulls a little bit more on the top end than the Pro Stock car does, but aside from that, what's the biggest difference between the two?
So, like, one would think that the speed would be the biggest difference, and it's definitely faster, but like you said, it pulls way harder. Like, the Pro Stock car and the turbo car, we had like the same 60 foot. We're within a tenth of a second at 330, but from 330 to 660, it like hauls them hail, and it does not stop pulling the whole way down the track. But the biggest challenge for me is, and I've said it in a couple other interviews, so it might be redundant, but the biggest challenge for me is like overriding that feeling. Like they say you drive by the seat of your pants. Well, the seat of my pants feeling for the last 15 years has been in a Pro Stock car, which is all about finesse. And, you can drive it through 3rd gear, but once you're in 3rd gear, you better not touch that steering wheel or you'll be upside down in a hurry. Well, the Pro Mod car, it's got a bigger tire, it's a longer wheelbase, it's got more downforce, and you can handle it a lot differently. And so the challenge for me is overriding the finesse feeling in my butt that I have from driving Pro Stock for so long, because in Pro Mod you have to drive it a lot further than you do in Pro Stock. So that feeling is very uncomfortable for me because I don't know where the edge is in the turbo car, and I honest to God, I don't want to find it. But everybody that drives those cars, they're a handful. My husband wrecked one in testing in Charlotte on Monday. Stevie Jackson, who is a phenomenal driver, he had a terrible crash in Charlotte. So you just you gotta be up on the wheel, and it's not a easy feeling in your stomach. So that's the biggest challenge for me. But they are super fast and super crazy and way fun.
Well, you did an amazing job at Houston, a solo pass, first car down in Pro Mod qualifying, and had what looked like a no prep crowd on the starting line.
That was so cool. My sister took pictures, and I had no idea. Like, all 4 of our Pro Stock teams, crews and crew chiefs, were up there. And then, of course, because it's my first run in Pro Mod at an NHRA event, like, everybody and their mom is up there watching. So, like, I'm glad that I had no idea what was going on. Otherwise, I probably would have been a little bit more nervous. But had we not pushed that head gasket, that was a high 570 run, and it's unfortunate that happened, and we were just a little bit too lean, and we'll learn from our mistakes. But I think we have a car that can definitely compete, and I feel like it's a trans brake button car, so it's a little bit different. It goes back to my Lucas Oil Series days with Super Comp and Super Gas. I joke all the time that I feel like I'm better with my left foot, so can we put like a trans brake button on the left floorboard where the clutch pedal should be? But I think that will be eventually a force to be reckoned with. But in the time being, like, I'm proud to be a part of the class. I think it's definitely growing. It's helping NHRA's situation for sure. I mean, you go into an event like there's 35 entries in Pro Mod. Are you kidding me? We can barely get a full field in Pro Stock. Like, it blows my mind. But I'm proud to be associated with the class, and I'm hopeful for some future success.
And it gives you a cool story and a lot to talk about. But the crowd and the people at the starting line it was like a sigh of relief with like oh damn, she just went a 585 on the first car down in her first time, and all eyes
blowing
on
it
her.
Up.
Yeah, I mean it was really cool. I think everybody kind of had a sigh of relief, and well, damn, she put up a good number for the first qualifying pass.
Well, thanks for saying that. And yeah, I was pleased with the way everything went, other than hurting the motor, obviously, because that's a lot of money and a lot of time for my guys. But I got to thank Jim Hairston and his son Jake Hairston is the head of our engine program at Elite Performance. His brother Clint is the one that drives the car at the Outlaw races and the Midwest Pro Mod Series stuff, and I'm going to drive the car at all the NHRA events. But the Hairston family and Petronics and Strange Engineering, they're the ones that make it all happen for us. So that, of course, and Richard Freeman at Elite. So I'm thankful for the chance to drive, and I'm excited to get back behind the wheel in Topeka.
That's cool. I think they just need to put a fake Liberty shifter in there, and you can hold on to it with your right hand and feel like you're in a pro stock car when you're driving it.
I know, right? But but if we're being real, that's a lot to do in
Yeah.
one of those crazy cars. Like Richie drove his nitrous car in Indy last year. He went to the semifinals, and it was a clutch car with a shifter in it. And I mean, you think about that, and going like low 570s at 260 miles an hour, like, and all the things that can happen in that car. That's a lot, man. Like, it's a lot in pro stock, but you're talking about like almost a second quicker and 50 more miles an hour. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But if I got a choice, I would be in a clutch car with a Liberty.
Right, I hear you. Well, hey, we won't take up any more of your time. Thanks so much for the time. I wanted to get with you and talk to you about all this stuff and congratulate you on your win, because we always get you on when you have a big weekend or you have a big weekend coming up. So thank you for taking the time, and tell your date, your business meeting. That we appreciate the time.
All four of them. I'll tell them all you said that.
Okay. So thank you for.
Hey,
go ahead.
Thank y'all for having me on, and I hope we get to talk more about some future success.
Absolutely. I know we will. I feel confident in it. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great dinner, and good luck the rest of the season.
All right, Doug, you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. So great job by Erica there.